Hello, my friend. It's the Crypto Lunatic live from the Lunar Café, and today we're going to bring you on a little adventure. Now, this is a request from Jerry Saint Germain, who's asked me to give you some use cases. What is blockchain and what is it used for, and why should you care? So, today is going to be a very sort of brief, cursory overview of what is blockchain technology, what does it actually mean? And let's bring that alive. I'm going to show you some cryptos here today, or some blockchain companies doing real things in real life to bring alive what is blockchain and why should you care about it? And why do I think it's going to be the future? The future. Here I am today. I am going to put my little Nostradamus hat on and say, look, I'm going to predict the future, my friend. And the future is that the banking establishment needs to watch out. And lots of other old companies with centralized data whose depend on you not knowing what goes on in the back office. Depend on you not knowing in the back office, little corrupt dealings. So, very shortly, what is blockchain? Blockchain is like a public ledger. Just imagine every transaction my company makes is publicly available to everybody. Now, that's good if you like transparency, but let's face it, there's a lot of organizations, they don't like transparency. They don't want you to know what they're spending their money on. And they're usually the same organizations that need transparency from you. So let's call this out. Who's not going to like blockchain technology? Who's going to be the least likely organizations to want a public ledger transparently of what they are doing? And I'll tell you one, that's governments. And I'll tell you the second one, and that is the banking system. The banking system, a bunch of banksters, the gangster banksters out there who are, people don't realize this, but more fines come from regulators to banks than any other industry. They are the top, they are always at the top of the list of unethical players in the industry. And ask yourself this whenever you need a loan, how many forms do you have to fill in? How many checks do you have to go through? Well, we're going to cover all of this. We're going to cover quite a lot today, and I'm going to give you bite-sized chunks. Now, each of the sectors that I talk about today, I could do a completely separate video on, and I have done. Some of the companies that I'm going to talk about today, I have separate videos on. So you can decide to go down individual rabbit holes, but today is about blockchain. Welcome to blockchain. I'm going to take you on a little fascinating journey and just show you some of the problems that are being solved and the solutions that are evolving. Now, in all of the companies, except possibly Bitcoin that we're going to talk about, which isn't really a company, it is just it's a mysterious coin that's come out of nowhere. I've done a video on that. My last video, if you're interested, is all about Bitcoin, which we've covered. But today we're just going to explore the bigger ecosystem and not necessarily specific blockchains, just things, areas, sectors that are going to change as we move forward. So, my friend, join me on a little journey. And it goes without saying, I'm not recommending any of the things I'm going to talk about today. I'm just here to comment and to let you know. So, Bitcoin, I've done a separate video on this, but why do people like Bitcoin? Let's simplify this. Why do banks not like Bitcoin? Well, with Bitcoin now, you can buy Bitcoin, which is an appreciating asset that's gone up over time. And supposing you need to free up money or get a loan, imagine that there's websites there like this, Aave, that you can go on and you can leave your Bitcoin in and look, you can earn up to 6.5% on your stable coins or your cryptos here. That you can leave it there and earn interest. Now, are you ever going to see this sort of interest in a bank? No, you're not. And this is actually the lower range. This is one of the safer plays. This is one of the most established plays. So here's the first case. With crypto, you can put it in places, you can even self-custody it, and you can earn a percentage of money. So any money that's sitting there can earn you interest. And with the current inflation rate, I believe that if you're not earning around about 15% a year, you're losing your spending power. So money sat in banks is losing you money. And this is the first problem that Bitcoin solves, or the crypto solves. that you can buy crypto and you can earn money, much better money than you would keeping your money in banks traditionally. So there's the number one thing. That's probably, you could say, right, that's it. Count me in. I'm into blockchain. I understand that. But here's another thing that you may not know. Yeah, and there's certain sites that you can do this. You can actually do this on your cold wallet. It's a separate video, but use cases. Imagine you're sitting on a lot of Bitcoin. You don't want to sell it because you don't want to create a taxable event. Now, that's another separate video, but you've got there, you need to free up cash. You can borrow against your Bitcoin or your Solana or your Ethereum. Now, there's other things you can borrow against, but it depends on different sites to do that. But the point being that you can free up money without creating a taxable event. You can borrow money against your Bitcoin without having to sell it. And that, my friends, is one of the biggest use cases of crypto. Let's talk about other things. So here's ways you can earn money. That's what Aave is all about. Leave your money, leave your crypto here, earn money on it. Borrow against your crypto. Here we go. So this is just one of many companies, and this is decentralized finance or DeFi. When people talk about DeFi, that's what they're talking about. Let's go now to supply chain. So one of the biggest players, and I've done a video on this, is Vechain. Now this is about tracking supply chains. Now let's bring this alive. What does that actually mean? So just imagine somewhere down the line, you're buying diamonds. You want to know if they're real or not, and there's little codes on them that you can scan, and you can actually track the complete supply chain of that diamond. You can see if it's been validated. You can see if it's real. This is the thing. Just imagine being in a supermarket one day and you've got a QR code on your fruit and you scan that and it tells you when it was picked, where it was picked, and how long it has taken to get to the shopping place that you're buying it from there. Just imagine that sort of technology. And these are companies like Vechain, supply chains, where they track where is everything sitting? Whereabouts is it, my friends? So they've even got some news that you can go down here. But this is what supply chain is. And this is another use case of blockchain technology transparently allowing you to track the journey of anything that you buy. Just imagine that. This is what the future, this is transparency. This is about public ledger. Blockchain's the public ledger, and this is one of the ways that it interacts. Supply chain companies like Vechain. So let's look at things like Storj now. Now, what this is a decentralized cloud. Now, just imagine rather than a centralized organization like Google that you pay for your cloud storage and it's all centralized in one place. Just imagine computers all over the world. And this is the same with Bitcoin, the way it's set up. There's no single point of failure. Now, this is a big thing for all blockchain technology. Most centralized systems, most banking systems, most supply chain systems have a centralized, they are centralized and they have a centralized point of failure, which means if hackers get in and hack one place, the whole system goes down. So with blockchain technology in any of these areas, there's computers all over the world that are part of the ecosystem. So if one computer gets hacked or goes down, then the rest of the computers are there that are holding up the infrastructure. So what you would need to take down a blockchain-based business is something like quantum computing that could simultaneously hack multiple different places from all over the world. Decentralization is a word you're going to hear a lot in crypto, in blockchain. What it means is that there's not a single point of failure. And in this instance, with a company like Storj, this is about storing things in the cloud. Rather than having everything in one place, it takes your data, it fragments it, and it sends it to different storage places so that they can't singularly hack one computer and get access to your data. And this is the future, my friends. Just imagine safety, more security, more transparency. Now, again, there's going to be a lot of companies that will not want you to have any transparency. Let's take the UK government. I'm going to call them out. They want everybody to have a central bank digital currency. They want a digital ID. But are they going to make themselves subject to the same so that we can see what they're spending their money on? They make it very difficult for you to find that out because they're wasting a lot of the money at the moment. So all of these organizations, governments, banks, they want you to fill in all the forms and have everything centralized. But if they get hacked, everything that you own goes to a single place. And this is another thing that I've not covered on these, and this is zero knowledge proofs. So zero knowledge proofs are using blockchain technology so that rather than you have to give your passport and your bank statements to every organization that needs you to prove who you are, you give it to one organization. And then anyone else that wants you to prove, they don't get access to your documents. They just go to the single organization and say, is this person who they say they are? And they give you a tick. Now, again, that sounds centralized because all of your data is in that single point. But rather than every organization having your data and you needing all of them to be secure, and only one of them needs to get hacked, they get all of your information. It makes a business of keeping your data safe. That is what they're about, and not sharing it with everyone else. So Demetra, here's another company I've talked a lot about. I've got videos on this. You can look it up on my channel. I love this. So this is giving farmers all over the world access to blockchain technology on the blockchain. You can look up as a farmer, you can look up what's the weather going to be like, what would be the best crops to plant on this land. It gives farmers in rural areas access to data that they wouldn't necessarily have before. And it reports things globally for farmers. So there's a little video there. You can watch that. I've done videos on Demetra. I think this is a cracking, really, really cracking opportunity. I think what they're doing for farmers is unbelievable. They're helping little farmers to be more efficient by giving them access to data on chain about weather systems, about farming data, things that can actually help them. So here is Demetra. This is just another example. Let's take companies like Audius. Now, this had the first mover advantage. It's been a little bit slow. But the problem that they're solving is that music artists, if they go on Spotify or Apple, that Spotify and Apple take most of the money and the artist generally loses out. So Audius is about decentralizing music and giving the artists a bigger percentage of the play. And this is what they're looking to do. Now, they've been a little bit slow in moving forward, and there's going to be other similar cryptos or blockchain companies that come up and aim to do the same thing. But my aim here isn't to promote necessarily Audius. It's to show you how blockchain technology is being used by industries using that transparent ledger for different things. For different things, my friends. These are just examples of how it can be used. And for artists, this is a no-brainer. But of course, it will depend on adoption. And let's just call it as it is. These are all very early stage companies. They're telling you that they've got people on there, join the movement. And a lot of this is going to be taking things out of the hands of centralized organizations. So centralized organizations are not going to like blockchain technology for exactly these reasons. Here's another company that I've talked a lot about. This is Power Ledger. Now, these enable people to feed their unused power into a centralized grid and earn money from it, and for people to claim extra energy from these centralized grids so that they're taking control of energy more locally. Now, these are in several different countries. They're even, I believe, powering Silicon Valley. So it's all about renewable energy and keeping things on grid. I like it that this is a very transparent company and also set up in Switzerland. That gives me always a lot more reassurance when I see there's a Swiss company involved and it's not in a tiny little obscure company that's set up. But this is a great opportunity, and I've done videos on Power Ledger. This is about having energy on grid that people can buy and sell from each other rather than depending on centralized companies. And the last sector I'm going to talk about today is the gaming industry. Now, to any gamers, you will know that you go on, you spend a load of money on a game, you might get bored of it, and all of your progress gets lost. So here's one of many gaming companies called So Rare. And what these companies have done is tapped into the fantasy football market. Now, just imagine buying a team and getting your cards, and people pay so much money for these cards for these players, and being able to trade them online to buy and sell your favorite players and have a marketplace for them. And this is what's happening with So Rare. You can buy and sell your own players. You can build up your lineup and you can play fantasy football, trading your players. Now, this is the same for any game. This is just one of many games that I could talk about here because there's a lot of games that are doing this. The problem that they solve is that you go in, you spend a load of money on a game, or maybe you don't, but gamers do, and then you get bored of the game and you leave it. Now, the beauty of blockchain technology, and this is what the companies in the early stages of it that they aimed to do was to create an ecosystem so that if you gave up on one game, you could sell your progress and then transfer it to another game. So rather than have to start from scratch, all the money that you spent, all the progress that you'd made on one game, you could sell, you could then translate that to progress in a new game. And this is the beauty of the gaming, what it's looking to disrupt it. The gamers now have got an ecosystem that they don't lose their progress, that they could spend years building up progress in a certain game. And then if they were bored of it and a new game came out, they could sell what their progress is and they could move that credit to another gaming ecosystem. Now, this is massively disruptive for gaming. Now, gaming has had a bit of a rough deal, especially on this run of things, that it hasn't pumped at all. But there's some hidden gems in the gaming verse at the moment. But this is what they aim to do. Is look at the problem that they solve. The problem is that gamers get screwed over. And I've heard incidences of people trying to sell their progress in certain games, and then people buying progress and then getting hacked, that they kept the passwords and the person that sold them their progress, they then took it back. And there's all sorts of complications in the world of gaming that people are trying to sell their progress outside of it, especially when they've spent a lot of money building up progress. And companies like So Rare are looking to do this. World of Dipians is another one that I've done a review on. So look, partners and investors, they've got some big names involved. So, my friends, there's loads more that I could talk about utility, but let's keep it simple. Blockchain is transparency so that no one can hack your thing or have any disputes. And in the future, it will be things like just imagine going to a concert or a football match and you've got a ticket and someone else has got it, maybe touts. Imagine that you can both check online and see who's got the real ticket, that there's no doubt when you're buying something that it's real. About validating things, transparency. So anybody that values transparency and decentralization is going to love blockchain. Anyone that is a little bit shady, that doesn't want you knowing what they're up to, that has been operating in the shadows, the banking system, governments, certain organizations that centralize data and harvest it from you, they're the people that are going to lose from blockchain technology because it's about transparency and freedom, especially from the banking system. So there you go, my friends. There is a very cursory overview of some of the utility that blockchain technology brings to the crypto space. That we're not just shilling coins here, we're shilling the dream of how things are going to change. What does the future look like? What would happen if the centralized organizations lost control and it was power to the people? And this is the movement that got people involved in Bitcoin in the first place. Now, unfortunately, the movement, the decentralized movement, get it out of the institution's hands, has gone the other way now because you have um, uh, exchange traded funds taking over the likes of Bitcoin, and now they're manipulating the market. That's exactly what's happening at the moment, my friends. That all the indicators say we should be going up, when in actual fact, we've been going down, and you've got everybody and their dog talking about a bear market right now. And the odds are there will be another flush out before we go up. But one thing I would actually, you can watch this video and you can mark my words. I believe 2026 is going to be an incredible year for crypto and blockchain technology as the world wakes up to what it does and the problems it's actually solving. And not only that, some of these companies that we're talking about today are great technologies, terrible at marketing. When people start to discover these innovations, these ecosystems, these cutting edge technologies, then things are likely to change. But the question is, which one is going to win in each sector? Because there's so many things going on now that it's very easy to lose your place in the market as new disruptive videos pop up and or videos or companies with disruptive videos that get people interested. And as you'll know through history, it's not always the best technology that wins. It's usually the best marketing team. And back in the day, for my generation, you will remember Betamax versus VHS. That Betamax was the better technology, but VHS took off because their marketing campaign was better. So there you go. And what we're looking at now is a transition from centralization, which would be your blockbuster of business, moving into Netflix territory, which is your blockchain technology. And this, I believe, is the transition that we're making at the moment. But don't take my word for it. I'm a lunatic sitting here on the Lunar Cafe, my friends. Let me know your thoughts and your comments. And also mention, I mean, there's so many other cases I could have used for this video, but I wanted to keep it as relatively short, just to give you an overview of why people are taking blockchain seriously, of why the geeks love it, of why people are talking about all these crypto coins, because so many people just come in, let's make money. Let's not even discuss what they're actually trying to do. This is about educating yourself and working out who's who and which ones are actually worth getting involved in, because it's not just an investment, it's a movement for a lot of these crypto coins. And if you don't understand what you're getting yourself into, then you're in a fool's paradise, which is crypto for newcomers, my friends, and why so many people lose in crypto. So leave your comments. Let me know what you think. And thank you for watching this video to its conclusion. If you're still here and you are not subscribed to my channel, then do yourself a favor. Do yourself a favor and subscribe to the channel. Yes, of course, it does me a favor, but you'll do yourself a favor as well, because I will tell it to you straight, my friends. I will tell it to you straight. And if you've enjoyed that, if you want another video, you'll find that just there. But either way, stay lunatic, have fun, and make money in crypto.